pantry door. Mom wiped her hands on a towel of red, grabbed a plastic receiver and finally said, "It's for you," and she handed me the heavy phone. The master of the house on the kitchen phone. But I couldn't just talk with my dad right there, eating his meatloaf in his wooden chair. I needed some privacy to state my case, so I pulled the cord right out of its place. It was a 20-foot leash, a yellow plastic spring, tethered to the wall while we listened to it ring. You stretch it down the hallway, you stretch it out of sight, holding on to secrets on a Tuesday night. Pull it tight. I stretched around the corner and past the fridge, making a tight and horizontal bridge. I stood in the dark with my back to the wood, whispering as quietly as I possibly could. Then my little brother came running through, wearing his socks and a single shoe. He didn't see the trap or the yellow line, and he clotheslined himself on a tight design. He hit the linoleum with a heavy crash, dropping a cup in a watery splash. The bass unit rattled and pulled the wall screw, bouncing off the floor like a rubber shoe. My dad stood up with a terrible shout, "Hang up that phone and figure it out." I told the girl I had to go to sleep, feeling like an absolute teenage creep. It was a 20-foot leash, a yellow plastic spring, tethered to the wall while we listened to it ring. You stretch it down the hallway, you stretch it out of sight, holding on to secrets on a Tuesday night. Pull it tight. I slammed the receiver back onto the hook, the loudest punctuation in the history book. A heavy plastic cracked and rang the bell, sending a message that you could easily tell. Over the years, the coil lost its shape, hanging to the floor like a dirty yellow cape. It gathered the dust and it gathered the grime, a victim of gravity and a victim of time. It tangled your ankles when you walked to the sink, pushing my mother right over the brink. It tied itself up in a massive knot, a complicated puzzle that we fiercely fought. The only way to fix it was a physical spin. You had to drop the phone and let gravity win. You watched it untwist with a plastic clack until a straight wire finally came back. It was a 20-foot leash, a yellow plastic spring, tethered to the wall while we listened to it ring. You stretch it down the hallway, you stretch it out of sight, holding on to secrets on a Tuesday night. Pull it tight. Down the copper road. We shared a party line with the folks next door, listened to recipes for an hour or more. You had to sit quiet and wait your turn with a heavy plastic handset ready to burn. Now everyone stares at a glass black screen, the quietest houses that we've ever seen. The cord is in the trash and the wall is bare, but I still hear the ringing in the kitchen air. Teenage fate. It started at the wall and it stretched across the room, a tripping hazard waiting to deliver the doom. My sister had the handsaw jammed against her head, pacing in a circle like a person filled with dread. She wrapped the curly wire right around the kitchen stool, breaking every single house telephone rule. She stretched it so tight it was playing like a bass, snapping that plastic right into my face. She talked about a boy and she talked about a car, dragging that receiver incredibly far. It's a tangled plastic coil, the kitchen trap, stretch around the corner like a yellow map. Wrap around your fingers, wrap it around your shoe, tripping up your mother and your father too. Watch your step, watch your step. My see the wire stretched across the open door. He caught his left ankle and he tumbled to the floor. The tools went sliding right across the kitchen tile. My sister kept talking with a terrible smile. Get off the phone, he hollered from the ground, the absolute loudest and angriest sound. The wire snapped back, pulling the phone from a grip, flying through the air on a terrifying trip. It hit the refrigerator with a heavy plastic crack, bouncing off the freezer and flying right on back. That phone was built tough, it didn't break or bend. A heavy piece of plastic on the copper wire end. You could drop it on the concrete 50 times a day and it would keep on ringing in exact same way. It's a tangled plastic coil, the kitchen trap, stretching round the corner like a yellow map. Wrap it round your fingers, wrap it round your shoe, tripping up your mother and your father too. Watch your step, watch your step, watch your step, watch your step. Oh, we had a little notepad sitting by the base to write down the messages in that specific place. Call Jim, call Bob, written in a messy scrawl with a chewed up pencil tethered to the wall. The worst part of the cord was the middle of the line, where the cord reversed itself and lost its neat design. It bunched up in a ball of hard yellow knots, looking like a pile of plastic tater tots. Hey, you couldn't pull it straight, you couldn't make it flat. It sat there on the counter like a lazy sleeping cat. I stood there for an hour trying to work the tangle out, twisting it and turning it with a frustrated shout. The more I tried to fix it, the worse the problem got, until the entire cord was a single heavy knot. I fed the handset through the loop a dozen different times, committing absolute ridiculous geometric crimes. It's a tangled plastic coil, the kitchen trap, stretching round the corner like a yellow map. Wrap it round your fingers, wrap it round your shoe, tripping up your mother and your father too. Watch your step, watch your step, watch your step, watch your step. When I finally called my buddy down the street, I had to stand exactly right there on my 2 feet. I couldn't walk away to get a soda from the fridge. I couldn't even pace across the linoleum bridge. And I was pulled tight, giving me a foot of slack, with my head pinned tight against the wallpaper back. There was no battery to die, no charger to plug in. Just pick up the receiver and let the talking begin. Hey, I took it off the wall in 1999 and threw away the heavy cord and cut the copper line. I got a cellular phone that fits inside my coat, but I miss the solid plastic that gripped me by the throat. Untangle the wire,